Hi, welcome to Salim's Post. I'm your host Salim Akhtar Malik. My channel gives you latest updates and analysis on national and international affairs, social science, and defense matters. In this session, I'll talk to you about the Indus Water Treaty. The India Independence Act was enacted in 1947 by British Parliament. The subsequent British withdrawal from India left the subcontinent partitioned between two independent states, marred by demarcation problems along with international boundaries. The peculiar circumstances leading to the forceful annexation of Jammu and Kashmir, straddling India and Pakistan, as well as the complex riverine systems of the Indus, Ganges, and Brahmaputra rivers. Of these three rivers, the Indus presented a complicated set of issues stemming from thousands of kilometers of man-made irrigation canals and headworks that regulated the flow of its rivers. While all the rivers except the Indus in Sutlej originated within Kashmir, the headworks, mostly located in the eastern Punjab, were awarded to India. The Punjab Boundary Commission, headed by Sir Cyril Redcliffe, suggested that the canal headworks system be treated as a joint venture, a proposition rejected by both countries, that is, India and Pakistan. The departing British did not deliberate on sharing the waters of the Indus River basin due to a hasty partition completed in 73 days. The issue of water sharing of the Indus River system would later take over a decade to resolve. As the monsoon flows receded in the fall of 1947, the chief engineers of Pakistan and India met and agreed to a standstill agreement, which froze water allocations at 2 points on the river until 31st March 1948, allowing discharges from headworks in India to continue to flow into Pakistan. On 1st April 1948, the day that the standstill agreement expired, in the absence of a new agreement, India discontinued the delivery of water to the Dipalpur Canal and the main branches of the upper Bari Doab Canal. Several motives have been suggested for India's actions. The first was legalistic, that of an upper riparian establishing its sovereign water rights. Others include an Indian maneuver to pressure Pakistan on the volatile Kashmir issue, to demonstrate Pakistan's dependence on India in the hope of forcing reconciliation, or to retaliate against a Pakistani levy of an export duty on raw jute leaving East Bengal. Another interpretation is that the provincial government of East Punjab acted without getting the approval of the central government, regardless of the motives for the action, and despite the resumption of water delivery less than a month later. Pakistani awareness of its vulnerability to its upstream neighbor for economic viability was heightened immeasurably. In 1951, David Lilienthal, former chairman of the Tennessee Valley Authority and a former chairman of the United States Atomic Energy Commission, visited the two countries, that is India and Pakistan, ostensibly to write a series of articles for the Collier's magazine. Having had access to both governments at the highest level, Lilienthal wrote in one of his articles, "I propose that India and Pakistan work out a program jointly to develop and jointly to operate the Indus Basin river system upon which both nations were dependent for irrigation water. With new dams and irrigation canals, the Indus and its tributaries would yield the additional water each country needed for increased food production. In the article, I suggested that the World Bank might use its good offices to bring the parties to an agreement and help in an Indus Basin Development Program. Inspired by this idea, Eugene Black, then president of the World Bank, visited the two countries and proposed a working party of Indian, Pakistani, and World Bank engineers to tackle the functional rather than the political aspects of water sharing. The two countries accepted this mediation. The World Bank suggested that each side submits its plans, which they did on 6 October 1953. The plans from Pakistan and India, while concurring on the available water supply, differed widely on allocations. The World Bank felt that an ideal approach to a mutual development plan for the Indus Basin, as proposed by David Lilienthal, was now impossible. To resolve the dispute, it finally stepped in with settlement proposals on 5th February 1954, offering the three eastern rivers to India and the three western rivers to Pakistan. The treaty allocated the three eastern rivers, Ravi, Beas, Satluj, to India and the three western rivers, Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab, largely to Pakistan. The treaty permits India to draw water from the western rivers for irrigation of 6,42,000 acres on the date the treaty would be signed, and an additional entitlement to irrigate an irrigated cropped area, that is ICA, of 7,01,000 acres. India accepted the proposal in total on March 25, 1954, while Pakistan gave only a qualified acceptance on July 28, 1954. Under the World Bank plan, Pakistan was asked to construct barrages and canals to divert the western river waters to compensate for the loss of eastern rivers on the Pakistani side. During the period needed to do this, called the transition period, India was required to maintain the historic withdrawals to Pakistan. The Indus Water Treaty was signed in Karachi by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Field Marshal Ayub Khan, and Mr. Illif, President of the World Bank, in a 5-day summit meeting starting 19 September 1960. However, it was deemed effective from 1st April 1960. The two governments ratified the same in January 1961 by exchanging documents in New Delhi. Simultaneously, an Indus Basin Development Fund was established with contributions from Australia, Canada, Germany, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, as well as the United States, along with India's share of the cost. The Eisenhower administration contributed roughly half of the fund, while the World Bank provided $250 million United States dollars, and the other donor countries provided a similar amount. The Water and Power Development Authority, that is WAPDA, of Pakistan was entrusted with the task of completing these tasks. How effective will India's decision to suspend the Indus Water Treaty be? The treaty permits India to store up to 3.6 million acre feet of water from the Jhelum, Chenab, and Indus rivers. However, this storage capacity is not fully utilized due to a variety of factors, including existing infrastructure limitations. While India can build run-of-the-river dams for hydropower, its storage capacity on the western rivers is limited. Here is a more detailed breakdown. Run-of-the-river dams. India can construct run-of-the-river dams for hydropower which do not involve significant storage. Limited irrigation. India can use the water for irrigation up to a certain limit, but this also has a storage component. Unutilized capacity. Despite the allowances permitted under the treaty, India has not fully utilized its permitted storage capacity on the western rivers. Underutilization. India's actual irrigated area in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is significantly lower than what it could have irrigated under the treaty. See you in the next video. Till then, be seeing you.